Online, confirm me that I'm audible to you. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening, Mohammed. Good evening, Srinit. Yeah. So, Asharar exam. Have you gone through the questions? See, I have informed you, right? Exam will there on Monday. Next week and Monday ne kada. After social engineering module, you have an exam. When I said sniffing concept about Japan, on the day of sniffing, I said you have left with one module. After that, you'll have an exam. అంటే నువ్వే ఉండి అన్నావు సార్ ప్రిపేర్ అవుతాను సార్ సో అన్ని మాడ్యూల్స్ అని అడిగావు. I said అవునరా ఫస్ట్ మాడ్యూల్ ఫ్రమ్ నెట్వర్కింగ్ టు టిల్ సోషల్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ యుల్ హ్యావ్ అన్ ఎగ్జామ్ సాటర్డే సండే మీకు హాలిడే ఉంటుంది అండ్ మండే ఎగ్జామ్ అని కూడా చెప్పాను. రికార్డింగ్ ఉంటుంది అట్లా లాస్ట్ చెప్పా అండ్ లాస్ట్ ఐ థింక్ ఇన్ సోషల్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ఆల్సో ఐ సెడ్ యూ దెర్ విల్ బి అన్ ఎగ్జామ్ ఆన్ మండే. All right, so already done you with the exam. So have you gone through the questions? How many marks you got? 70? 70 you got out of 125. Okay. What about others? Who got highest marks? After exam, you guys are going through that questions. %51 accuracy. Rishabh got 92, Mohammed 81, Srinitya 74, Suman 70, Lakshmikant 68, Mahesh. What happened, Mahesh? You didn't attend the exam.
సార్ అసలు ఎగ్జామ్ ఉందని తెలియదు సార్. అంటే ఈ వీక్ లో ఉంటదని అనుకున్నాను కానీ మండే అని తెలియలేదు.
ఈ వీక్ అంటే ఏంటి? మండేనే సోషల్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఎగ్జామ్ ఉంటాయంటే దాని అర్థం ఏంటి? సోషల్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ఎప్పుడైపోయింది? అండ్ ఇట్ కోర్స్ కంప్లీటెడ్ ఫ్రైడే, సాటర్డే, సండే, మండే. అట్లీస్ట్ అటెంప్ట్ చేయాల్సింది కదా. 0.
అదే ట్రై చేశాను అటెంప్ట్ చేయడానికి ఒక 5 క్వశ్చన్స్, బట్ బయట ఉన్నా. సో 125 క్వశ్చన్స్ కదా, మేబీ సరిగ్గా అటెంప్ట్ ఇవ్వలేనేమో అని చెప్పి ఇంకా.
So you need enough time for that, I think. All right. So don't repeat that you'll have an exam. Prepare and all. I said almost 2 modules before only that you'll have an exam after social engineering. Fine. So just go through the questions again, everyone. Check what mistakes you made there. Mostly the questions I picked from the CEH exam only. I hope you got the questions related to the scenario. Right. So prepare well. Don't neglect the concepts, everyone. So whatever I'm trying to cover in the module are very important. So I suggest you make sure don't neglect the concepts here. They're very, very, very important. Okay. All right. So today we'll start our new module called Firewalls. So what do you guys know about the firewall? Anyone? Okay. So ఎలా డిఫైన్ చేస్తాం? ఇంటర్వ్యూకి పోతే అట్లా చెప్పకూడదు. You need to explain the process. network device that is used for security. A firewall is a network device. Okay. That's it, used for security. So how that security works? Right, I'll tell you. So simple. It's a shield which protects from malicious traffic. I know it protects from malicious traffic. It provides security, but how it protects, how it provides the security. Yeah, it contains set of rules exactly. So simple. What your firewalls will do here is it acts, or else it is a network security system that monitors the monitors and control the incoming and outgoing traffic, right? So based on pre-defined security rules. As you said, provide security, right? So how that security is provided means it has a predefined rules, set of rules. Okay, it has a predefined set of rules here, right? So it acts like a barrier between the trusted internal network and external network, untrusted external network, right? So for example, you can see your network connectivity. You can see this. So this is your internet, right? So this is your internet. We call this as a external network. This is untrusted because this was not built by me. I just taking that service. It was not built by me. So this is untrusted external network, and this is trusted internal network. So it will be placing as a barrier between the external and internal. So whatever the traffic that is entering into our network and whatever the traffic that is outgoing from our network will be monitored. So incoming and outgoing traffic is monitored based on simple example. You can take your college. You have a security guard. So what is the role of this security guard here? So he has some instruction from the management, right? So the security guard will have an instruction from the management saying that, man, you need to allow the people who are wearing the ID card. So now what he do? He has a rule. Now he has a rule, which was implemented by whom? Management. So now he follow that rule. So he check who are the people wearing the ID card, and then only will allow inside the college. Or same way, if people are leaving from the college also, he need to have a certain permissions. He need to show some letter from his HOD or something. So he follow that rules. So he will monitor each and every activity of a student. Same here also. Your network, it checks every packet which is entering and leaving. And it allow the trusted ones and it will block the suspicious ones. That is what the role of firewall means. Firewall will work based on the predefined rules. It can't take its own decision here. Many people think that it will block the malware, it will block the services. Yeah, it do. How it doing that? That is what you need to think of. So మీరు అది ఆలోచించాలి. So how it does that? How it will block the malware? How it knows that is a malware? So it has that signatures. It has that rules. So it will work according to that rules and signatures. Got my point? So that is what firewall will do. Clear, everyone? So what is firewall here? Firewall is a network security system that monitors and controls the incoming and outgoing traffic here. So based on predefined security rules. So it acts as a barrier between the internal network and the external network. Got it? Is that clear? Right. So how it works? So as you've seen, it has a specific rules, right? So if that rules are will be verified like based on their header, based on the packet, based on the, again, there are different technology to monitor that. So based on the header or based on the packet or based on the uh, signatures or whatever it has, it will work accordingly. Got it? So how it works means every packet from external network to internal network or internal network to external network will be monitored. So it has a packet structure like IP, TCP, UDP, and data. So it checks the source IP and destination IP, port number, all these things, and checks the upper layer like protocol number, checks the IP addresses, everything. So based on this, it has a rule. Imagine I have written a rule: allow port 21 of source any IP, any destination IP, any source IP. Okay, so then it will check the port number only here, irrespective of IP address. If I mention certain IPs, it will check only that certain IPs. So like that, it will perform based on the rules, a predefined rules. Got it, everyone? Is that clear? So, so data that enters the network as a packet, firewall will inspect based on the IP address, port number, protocol, content, right? And based on the rules. So what rules will be there? Most of the firewalls have a action rules like allow, block, or log. These things will be the default now. The modern firewalls have this activity. So based on this action, it will apply the rules. If you say that this IP should be allowed, means it will allow. Remaining IPs will be blocked, right? So like that, it has a rule set. So according to the rule set, it will work. That is what firewall will do. So these firewall will come up with the two types. What are they? This firewall of two types. One is software firewall. Another one is hardware firewall. Can anyone explain me the difference of software and hardware? Mhm. Anyone? Software means hardware is a component. Okay. So software is nothing but which is installed on your device. Installed on device. Example, you can take your Windows Defender. In your Windows, you have a firewall called Windows Defender. Have you seen? Even in your Windows 7, you turned off that firewall, Windows Defender, to install that payload. So that is what Windows Defender firewall you have. In Linux, you have IP tables. Right. So like that, these are the software firewalls. So which will work within that system only. So the firewalls which are hosted on the device, which was installed on the device. So this will protect the individual systems. So it will protect individual systems. Right. So whereas hardware firewall, it's a physical device. It is a physical device placed between the network and internet. Means your router and the internet. So it will protect entire network. Correct? So what is the difference in between these two? What is the difference between the software and hardware firewall? Hmm. So I have software firewalls like, sorry, hardware firewalls like Cisco, Fortinet, FortiGate. You have all these firewalls here. In check, there will be a hardware firewalls like Cisco firewalls. In check them. So these are all the firewalls. Same like your router switch you have, right? They have the same. So these are placed at the gateway. You observe, these are placed at the gateway. This is the hardware firewall. So whatever the traffic that you are getting from the external network, first received by the your hardware firewall only. It will examine this and then only it will forward to your internal network. Means, is that analyzing the entire network? Is that analyzing the traffic of entire network or not? Right. Same when it comes to the software. So this was installed on the each device. So now is that verifying each device packet or is the means entire network traffic or the individual device what the traffic is getting? Individual device, right? It is not verifying all the entire network traffic here. That's a major difference. So when it comes to the hardware firewall, that placed between the network, internal network and the external network. So whatever the traffic you're getting from the internet, that will be first analyzed by your hardware firewall. And that rules are applicable for the entire network. Okay. That rules, whatever the hardware is having, will be applicable for the entire network. And coming to the host level, again, you have an individual firewall. And after verifying the hardware firewall, again, while it is entering into this device, again, it has an individual firewall, like your Windows Defender, all these things. Now that will analyze the traffic of that particular incoming packet. So host level, we call that as a software. Network level, that we call as a hardware. So the traffic which analyzes the network level, that we called as a hardware firewall. The firewall which analyzes the traffic at the host level. Host level means on your device. We call that as a software firewall. Is that clear? Is everyone clear with that? Right. So these firewalls you can implement in different architectures. So we have different firewall architectures here. So some of the firewall architectures we have is like first we have is bastion host. So that depends. That depends on your architecture. You can implement accordingly. We can't say this is the one which we need to use. No. So we have different firewall architectures here. So the first we have is bastion host. Right. So this is the bastion host architecture. So the bastion host architecture is like you guys can implement multiple, sorry, single firewall again. So you can go with a single firewall. Just take an image for you. It's just architecture only. It's suggesting the architecture for you. So many people can implement the firewalls within the network or over the network, or sometimes internal network separate net firewall they use and external network separate firewall they use. So if you see this bastion host here, you can see the first the traffic which was received by the internet, the firewall will analyze, and there is another device which will verify each and every packet as DMZ, demilitarized zone we call them. So this bastion host is designed for defending the network against the attacks here. and it acts as a mediator between your inside and outside network. So it is a computer system. Again, this Bastionhouse is nothing but a computer system like designed and configured to protect the network resources from the attackers, right? So traffic entering or leaving the network passes through this firewall. So it has two interfaces, public interface and private interface. Public interface is directly connected to the internet, and private interface is which is connected to the intranet, which is nothing but internal network we call. So whatever the traffic that is getting from the external network will be analyzed, and whatever the traffic that is leaving from the network will also be analyzed. This is what we call as a bastion host. It is a computer system designed and configured to protect the network resources from the attacks, right? So it has two interfaces here. This is what the bastion host connectivity. And same way, the advantage with this is strongly secure, right? It acts as a gatekeeper. The disadvantage with this architecture is if this firewall is failed, entire network will be compromised. So that is a drawback we have. Single point of failure we have. If it got compromised, entire network will be in risk here, right? So apart from this, we have another architecture called screened architecture. Screened subnet, you can say, screened subnet architecture. So how this one will work means, so if you see this contains DMZ here. So what is DMZ here? Any idea? DMZ means demilitarized zone we call. Yeah, demilitarized zone. What is the demilitarized zone here? Like whatever the data that required for the public will be hosted in this zone only. Say if this get compromised also, that won't impact on the internal network. For example, let's take you have a web application. Okay. So let's take a e-commerce website. If you observe as a user, you are a user, you are visiting this server. So if I allow a user directly to access a server which contains the internal data also, if this get compromised, this will also be compromised, right? Yes. So what many organizations will do is they use a method called demilitarized zone. Okay, DMZ we call. So whatever the data that required for the public will be maintained in this, and separately they maintain the internal network also. So if anything goes wrong, this will get compromised. This won't impact on the internal server. So it is acting as a external network, and this is acting as an internal network here. Both are belongs to the organization only, but this holds the data which is required to the public. So if anyone attack also, this will be get compromised, not internal part. So that is how your DMZs will work here. So if you observe here also, they're maintaining the email server or web servers, everything in the DMZ zones. And apart from that, the remaining internal networks like their databases, whatever that is running in the internal network. Got my point? So whatever the traffic that is getting, there will be a firewall. So like the screen subnet here is nothing but they use a separate network zone that hosts public facing services. So whatever the public facing services that we have, that will be maintained in this DMZ only. So how it works means the internet users can access the DMZ servers only. Okay. And internal network, which is nothing but a private zone, is fully protected, right? So there is no direct access from internet to internal network, internet to intranet. We don't have any direct access. And in between, we implemented the multiple firewalls. Even to access the DMZ, we have a firewall. Again, from DMZ to the internal network to access the data, also we have a firewall. So it is a multi-layer security, you can say. That is what your screened subnet will help you. So even if DMZ is compromised, what happened? Internal network remains safe. Got my point? Why? Because there is no direct access from internet to intranet. right? So it has a strong isolation and protects the internal network from the direct attacks. But the drawback here is it requires a lot of setup, right? Price compared to Bastion host, there is a single firewall. Here we have a multiple firewalls along with the DMZ zones. So setup is somewhere complex here, right? So like this, we have screened subnet. So this is another architecture. Either you can go with the single host firewall or you can implement the multiple. So here this firewall will contains the uh, all the attacks related information. Right. So here, when it comes to that, they use a DMZ zone. For that, they add the public network. They add the firewall, and even for private network also, they have the firewall. So even here also, I can write my own rules who can access to the internal network, and here also I'll implement which services allowed to access this DMZ service. Like that, I can implement the multi layers here. That is what screened subnet will help me. So it comes with the strong isolation here. And apart from this, we have another one called another architecture called multi-home, multi-homed firewall we call. So same again, this firewall with multiple network interfaces here, more than two segments network we can say. You can see it has a DMZ, it has a DMZ firewall, it has a perimeter firewall, and even in DMZ also again they have the public email server separately and public web server separately. So which is similar to your screened subnet only, right? So this is related to the screened subnet only. So that is what same similar to this, but here they have a trusted and untrusted network, public request, perimeters, DMZ firewalls, and again DMZ is directly connected to the internal network. DMZ is directly connected to the internal network. So it is like it has the independent instances here, right? So public service data and private service data will be differentiated here. So customers data will be maintained in one server, and internal data will be maintained in another server. Like that, so firewall with multiple network interfaces. So internet interface we have, DMZ interface we have, and internal network interface we have. So it will allow only fine-grained controls only. So each interface represents a different security zones here. Each interface represents a different security zones here. So here you have internet to DMZ and DMZ to the internal network. So there is no direct from internal network to internet or internet to internal network here. Same as your screen subnet, but here they have the administrative differentiations. So here DMZ is directly connected to the trusted network, right? And same complex configuration, and you can implement. It is for better segmentation also, dividing and analyzing the traffic and verifying each and every service here. So for large organizations related, they go with the multi-home only. For large organizations, this is a suitable for individual basis. For small networks like that, they can go for Bastion host. And for web hosting enterprise level, they can go with the screen. This is suitable for enterprise and web related, web hosting related. You can go with that. And organization related, like customers data and internal data to separate and work out. This is best for the enterprise level, like large organizations. They go with these things. So it has a very high security level, where this will also have the high security level, where this comes with the low security level. Why? Because it has a point of failure. If this failed, there is chance for the attack. Here, if this failed, again we have another layer. So there is no single point of failure here, right? So this is how the architecture of firewalls can be implemented in the organizations. Got it? These are the firewall architectures we have. So Bastion host, it's a single strong defense system, and whereas screen subnet, where it comes with the DMZ, So separate zones for the public services here. And multi-home, it's like an advanced segmentation with multiple interfaces. So in real world, if you ask me, uh, the organizations will implement the multi-homed firewalls. They are commonly used together for defense in depth strategy. Do you remember the defense in depth strategy? Like level one, no, in level two, in introduction module, I said about the defense in depth strategy. So where it has a multi-layer of security. So to access the information system, you need to break all the layers. So just breaking this layer won't allow the attacker to access the internal network. Again, they need to break the another layer also, another layer also, another layer also. So this is suitable for defense in depth strategy. So like that, they implement these architectures accordingly. So if you have a small networks, you need to go with a low budget basis. Bastion host is suitable for you. Screened, again, web hosting related and enterprise level, you can go with the screened subnet. And if you want to go for larger organizations, like big organizations where they want to handle the huge amount of data, at the time this multi-home firewalls will useful for them. So this is how you can build the architectures. Clear? So firewall types, software and hardware, and then firewall architectures. Got it? Is that clear, everyone? Any doubts here? Right. When it comes to the firewall techniques now, so how this firewall will work, as you said, it works based on the predefined rule, right? Types of firewall techniques. See, this depends on the based on the deployment. One is based on the deployment, another one is based on the working mechanism. If you ask me based on the deployment about a firewall, there are two types. Based on the deployment, I'm saying about the based on the deployment. So based on the deployment, we have two categories. One is network based and this is based on the this is how you can deploy your firewall. One is network based, another one is host based. So what is network based here? Just now we discussed. If you're analyzing the packet on entire network basis, it is hardware related. So that is network based. So deployment can be in the two categories. Either you can host the firewall on the gateway or on the system. So when you're placing that at the gateway, that we call as a network based firewall. Means that rules will be applicable for entire network. So deployment అనేది two categories లో ఉంటుంది. One is hardware level, one is software level. So hardware level network we called as a network based firewall. So why? Because this will inspect the incoming and outgoing packets of a network, not a device, right? So it placed at the you can say gateway, perimeter, boundary, whatever. So I'm just mentioning a new term called perimeter, right, of a network. So where to protect entire network. That is what network-based firewalls will work. So where it will secure the entire network. When it comes to the host-based, so what is the drawback with the network-based firewall? What is advantage and disadvantage? If you ask me the advantage, it will protecting the entire network. Means the rules are applicable for entire network, means all the devices in a network. So where it can't scan individual device here, that is a drawback. So individual device may scan sharing. It will scan entire network. So it will consider all the devices as one. Right. If it affects the entire ones will fail exactly. So where it cannot protect the individual host from the internal threats. Internal threats means that where you can't secure the internal threats. That is a drawback we have with the network based. That's why they implement both gateway as well as host level also they implement. So when it comes to the host based, so it's a software which is installed on individual system on your server or PC. Right. So where it will filter the traffic based on the device. Per device, it will filter the traffic. So it protects against the internal attacks also, but needs the installation on each device. And it will also consume the resource usage, everything. So that is somewhere the drawback, but important. So every device will have a individual firewalls too, as well as external firewalls also. So this will secure the entire network. This will secure the internal network. Got it? So this is the deployment scenario. This is what for deployment scenario. When it comes to the working level, so this is based on working mechanism. This is based on working mechanism. So if you ask me, there are many different firewall techniques. So some of the common firewall techniques we have is packet filtering firewall, packet filtering firewall, and circuit level gateway firewall, application level gateway firewall, as well as stateful multi inspection firewall, and next generation firewall. Right. So these are the some common firewall techniques we have. So if you take the packet filtering firewall, so how this packet filtering firewall will work means it will check only the header. It is not borrowing about the what content it has. Means it will check only the header. What header contains actually? What header contains? ఒక ప్యాకెట్ కి హెడర్ లో ఏముంటుంది? So you have source IP, destination IP, protocol, port numbers, ఇవన్నీ ఉంటాయి. ప్యాకెట్ చెప్పే కదా OSI model. If you see up to transport layer, you'll get the data. From transport layer, it will add the address to the data. That is what we call as a header. I explained you in the OSI model also. So it will only analyze the header. Packet filtering will go for header analysis. So this is a table of a packet filtering. Your router will come up with the default packet filtering only. So you have source any, source port any, destination address, and destination port address. So what is the action to perform? Allow. So it will work according to this rule. So is that bothering about the content? Is that bothering about the content? No. So that is what packet filtering. So it compares each packet with a predefined rule. So what that rules it contains is source and destination IP, port number, protocol. And then it has a decision like allow or drop. Right. So it's like a stateless, means no session is awareness here. That is what we call it as a packet filtering firewall. Got it? So it works at the layer of network, internet layer and network layer of TCP/IP model. Right. So it will check only for the header. It won't bother about the content type. That is what packet filtering. So when it comes to the circuit level gateway, so it checks only the sessions. Outside connection, inside connection, sessions will be there like telnet, FTP. You'll establish the connections, right? So it will check whether the connections are properly implemented or not. Simply, your circuit level gateway will verify the TCP handshake. Okay, so it works at the session layer of OSI model. You have OSI model, right? In session layer, what is the responsibility of session layer? Session layer responsibility in the OSI model. What is the responsibility of session layer in OSI model? In your interview, you can expect the questions from OSI layer. Session management, exactly. Session implementation, session establish, maintenance, and termination. So this is what we have. The function of circuit level gateway firewall is it will verify the TCP handshakes and it will allow the connections only if session is valid. So they block direct connections, right? So the drawback with this circuit level is it won't inspect the content here. It is also not verifying or bothering about the packet content. It is verifying about the connection session only. That is what circuit level gateway will do. When it comes to the application level firewall, this will work at the application layer of OSM model. So what is the role of application layer? The responsibility of application layer? Services, network services. So it will process your data based on the network services, right? So it will verify that services. It prevents from the unauthorized access. So it will go for deep packet inspection. So packet will be verified here. Means the content of the packet will be verified. It is not bothering about what header it contains. It is bothering about a content. A packet inspection will be happened here. That is what application level gateway. So packet filtering, it is only checking for the source port, destination port, source IP, destination IP, protocol, all these things. Means header it is verifying. It is not bothering about the packet content. Same circuit level is also not bothering about the packet content, not the header. It is verifying about the TCP handshakes or connections maintenance. And application level gateway, it is bothering about the packet content. It will go for deep packet inspections also, where it is not bothering about the header here. So all these three together, we call that as a stateful multi-inspection firewall. Got my point? So it will verify the session, it will verify the header, it will verify the packet content. So all these three together work as a stateful multi-layer. You can add a point called multi-layer inspection firewall. So it combines the packet filtering, circuit level gateway, and even application inspections also. So it tracks the session state. It inspects the network layer like IP address, port address, application layer like data, everything. Right. So the modern firewall protections are using the stateful multi-layer inspection firewalls only. Clear? Is that clear? So next we have a next generation firewall. So what is this next generation firewall? Now the modern organizations, they're using the next generation firewall. I'm not having the hardware firewall here, but I can show you. I can demonstrate you. There are some demos for you to see how the next generation firewalls will be. So if you take this, some of the example are like Palo Alto. So there is a Palo Alto firewall. So this is a network-based firewall actually. So you can see we have PA 400 series, PA 1400 series. So what's the difference between them means mechanisms, what it contains. So it come up with this firewalls will come up with all the features, man. So they call this as a NGFW is nothing but next generation firewall. So Palo Alto you have, FortiGate you have, FortiGate firewalls. So these are all the next generation firewalls. Can you see? So these are all the hardware firewalls. So what these firewalls will contain means, if you see here, it is everything. It is hardware and software, everything. Okay. So kind of a network firewall, you can say. So I'll show you why we call this as a next generation firewall. So just open, there is a FortiGate demo. It's a hardware firewall only. Remember, it's a device. Okay. So now you're going to configure this device at the gateway. And now you connect all the devices to this gateway. And whatever the traffic your device is getting will be analyzed from this source only. The username is demo, password is also demo. Just a second. You only read. We don't have edit option. Just they'll provide you read only. Means when you configure that firewall to your network now, you can see the dashboard like this. So what's next generation firewall will contain means it has everything, man. It come up with the firewalls, antivirus, web application firewalls, packet filtering, stateful, deep packet inspection, VoIP filters, video filters, file filters, uh, IDS, IPS. It's like all this combination in a single source that we called as a next generation firewall. It come up with everything. So if you see, this is a dashboard. So in the dashboard, you have all the connections, like what are the vulnerabilities. When you click on this, it will explain like what softwares you're running, right? What vulnerabilities that contains. So who access what data from which MAC address, how many are in the online, how many vulnerabilities we found in that, what are their IP addresses, users, 40 clients, everything. So network, they have a network, IP security, VPN tunnels, Wi-Fi. If you're providing the Wi-Fi, what are the clients connected to that Wi-Fi, what they're accessing for. So rogue access points attacks can be detectable here, right? So WAN opt cache, status, test, everything. And if you scroll down, can you see here security profile? So in security profile, if you see, these are all the services it is providing for you. So you have web filter. So web filters means if anyone attacking the web attacks like SQL injection, XSS attacks, if you're performing, it has some default, they come up with the default rules. You can implement your own rules. You can write it your own rules. They'll provide that interface also. Okay, so you have only view option here. If you have edit option also, we can able to view that content. So you can see here they came up with the rules. So if anyone type this message, search in the Google web filter. This is web filter here. So it will monitor that activity from which user they are trying to access this content. So here they blocked these things. They blocked all these things. What is the action they mentioned? Block. If anyone is trying to access this kind of content, what it will do? It will block based on the keyword. So they has come up with some predefined rule. Many firewalls will provide you that, especially this next generation firewalls will provide the rule set. And apart from that, based on your infrastructure, you can add the rule. So you can write the rule here. Actually, they'll provide the interface. So in that interface, you can add the rules, or else you can go with the rule settings also here. Okay, you can edit them. Right. So remaining these are all the allowed. Right. So here you can see you can set the which search engines. You can go with the URL filter. You can block the invalid URLs. So in online, you can search for what are the phishing links. You can get that links, abuse links. You can get that. You can add it to your firewall. So if anyone from your network is accessing to that websites, will be get blocked. Like that, you can write the signatures here. So come up with all these options: web filters, video filters. You have. Right. So you can add video filter keyword based, like any video filter keyword or profile or video filtering settings you have. So you can add that API key, YouTube or any other videos like movie rules, torrent sets. The people will visit, right? So you can add their websites here, right? So DNS filters you have. You have application controls, right? So you have inline CASB. So inline CASB is like an internal network. Right. So it will monitor the real-time traffic. So like cloud access security breaks, we call this. So you have Google, Microsoft. These are the clouds. SaaS applications will be there, right? Your Drive. So you can add that content also. So you can see what are the default rules they have. So enable the domain control, safe search. So CASB is nothing but here, Cloud Access Security Broker. So it acts as a real-time traffic gateway. So these are positioned between the user and the cloud applications. So this will also be analyzed. Then intrusion prevention. So I'll explain about the IDS and IPS in the next session. We have that. So intrusion prevention systems also there. They come up with some default rules here. So this is placed at the gateway. So while your network receiving any traffic, it will compare with all these things. It is not just a predefined rule, just not acting as a firewall. It is acting as a antivirus, acting as a firewall, acting as a web application firewall, acting as a packet filtering, stateful inspection, email filter, file filter, video filter, data loss preventions. We have loss, all these things. So that's why we call this as a next generation firewalls. So most of the organizations they came up with this firewall rules here. Got it, everyone? Right. So when you purchase any firewalls, like especially this Palo Alto, all these things, uh, we can configure them. Again, we need to add the rules also important. So for that, you have a separate course called network security. So I have a course called network security. So what they do here, it's a technical security where hardware and software controls that safeguard the data in transmit at the rest. Means inspect and controls the incoming and outgoing traffic based on the means you need to write the rules here. See, if you're going with the next generation firewalls, that's okay. They come up with some default rules, but that is not completely applicable for your organization infrastructure. So as a security analyst, especially the network security administrator, you need to write the rule sets based on the applications what you deployed. And again, the individual devices, what they have and what kind of security they need to be implemented for them also. So everything you need to implement here. So you need to go with the access controls, network segmentations. So you need to build the isolated zones, physical security concerns you need to look over. All these things are managed by the network administrators, especially network security engineers or professionals. They need to work out on these firewalls, right? So that is how you can go with this. And we people are using the Windows Defender. So if you see in our device, we have the Windows. Go for firewall, search for the firewall. You have a firewall here. Right, so I have the inbound rules and outbound rules. Right. So here you can write a new rule also if you want. Then go with your own rules. Right. So you can block the program or allow the program, or you can allow the port basis, predefined rules. Custom also you can go custom means like which program, which protocol, what is the scope. action, what action to be performed, like allow block or allow the secure connection only, profile and name. You can give the rule name. So like that, you can create a rule. But default, I'm not using the Windows Defender. My system default using the Norton. I'm using the Norton firewall. Default, this one is applicable. So this is why Norton I'm using means it come up with the firewall, antivirus, everything. So Norton is actually an antivirus. So it come up with this firewall also. You have a firewall option. So in this, if I mention, if I mention, if you can go with the rules also. Solo internet connection sharing, like that, you have an option. And if you see the network, program control, so which program to be allowed, which program not to be allowed, I can write it here. And traffic rules you have. So you can go with, like, for example, ICMP. So I mention all the ICMP to be blocked here. You see, these are all below. Or else you can just edit this rule. What I can do here is I can just say this as a action as a block. Now, if anyone perform the ping on my device, you won't get the response because my firewall is blocking your request. So even it is on also, you won't get the response. So that is what I can write a rule here. Correct. So you can write your own rules also. In Linux, you have IP tables. You can use the IP tables and you can block the services also. So like that, this is work based on the predefined rules here. The firewalls will work based on the predefined rules. So whatever the, like for example, let's take this Norton only. So is this a firewall or an antivirus? You can take anything. This is a This is an antivirus actually. It has an option called firewall also. Or else let's check your Windows Defender only. So now, is your Windows Defender working on entire network, or is that working on only on your device? Right? Like the rules what Windows Defender is having. Is this work on the entire network, or is this work only on your host device? Only your host device. So this is the software firewall we call. And whatever the firewalls you guys are seeing, this one. So these are all the hardware firewalls. So deployment will be on the network based, and this is deployment on the host based. So here also you have incoming rules and outgoing rules separately. So outgoing packet you can filter and incoming packet also you can filter. Correct? Is that clear, everyone? What is firewall and firewall techniques? Now you got an idea about the next generation firewalls. So these are the advanced firewalls we can say. So industry leading, like next generation firewalls only, it protects the hybrid networks and distribute the enterprise by the SD-WANs, all these things, routing, deep packet inspection, intrusion prevention, malware protection. So you won't have all these things in your firewall. If you take your software firewall, you don't have the intrusion prevention. You don't have the malware protection, right? But these things will come up with that. This next generation firewalls. So you need a hardware firewalls here. Got it? Is everyone clear? Any doubts? Anyone having any doubts related to the firewall? So based on the deployment, either you can choose the network based or host based. So network based means entire network. So the drawback with this is it can't scan the internal threads. So when you go for host based, it will scan the internal threads, right? That will help you a lot. And based on the working mechanism, if you want to only check with the header, go with the packet. Default, your routers and your devices will come up with the packet filtering only. And if you want to go with the like session filtrations or content filtrations, all these things also, you can go with the stateful multi-layer inspection firewall. Correct. So now tell me, what are the limitations that firewall is having? What limitations the firewall is having here? what is the difference of antivirus and a firewall? What is the difference between the antivirus and a firewall? You can expect this question in your interview. Anyone? So antivirus works on the previous signatures, but firewall will work based on the rules only. Mhm. If you go with the antivirus, it is also working based on the predefined signatures only. Hmm. If an antivirus will work based on how antivirus will work. Antivirus will work both. But we are not giving any rules for antivirus. ఏ రూల్స్ ఉంటాయి యాంటీవైరస్ ప్యాకెట్ ని బ్లాక్ చేయమని ఉంటుందా మళ్ళా సో I need you guys to work out on see what is firewalls just now we discussed. Antivirus, a minimum 5 to 6 points I need, and as well as I need firewall limitations. Just go through this. Okay, so just see what is firewall. What are the types of firewalls we have? Firewall architectures, firewall techniques, and see what's the difference of firewall versus antivirus. So in next session, I'll explain these two things as well as you need to find that first. I'll explain about the IDS and IPS. We'll go with the SNOT. That is what I said. It will verify the content of a packet. It will go for the services, HTTP, HTTPS, service based and packet based. It will analyze. Like application information, they will analyze it. All the incoming requests, including your actual message that exchange, like that may contains any vulnerabilities such as SQL injections, cookie tampering, or any cross-site scripting. So again, they'll verify with that content also what your application is receiving there. Content, it will go for packet content. Previously, if you see the packet filtering, it is only looking for the header. It is not verifying the content type. When it comes to the circuit level, it is verifies the sessions like TCP, handshakes, and all these things. And when it comes to the application, it looks for your HTTP post and GET request application level, like what your web is receiving. So they look for the unauthorized access to the internal and external traffic. Like they examine the traffic and filter the application specific commands like HTTP post and GET services. So if you take your traditional firewalls, they won't filter such type of traffic actually. So that's why they go with the stateful multi-layer inspection firewalls. right? So firewall focus mainly on the headers in the network layer, right? So that's why they go for deep packet inspection firewalls. So that can find attacks like behavior also. Like for example, there is a worm. Imagine worms are there. So what worms do? It replicates. It will inject the code, right? Depends on the exploit what it contains. So uh, obviously, worms that will send the malicious code in the legitimate protocol that cannot be detected by your stateful firewalls and all these things. So that's why they go for deep packet inspection services. So that can be possible through the next generation firewalls. So we can't depend on this individual basis of firewall, right? So we need a deep packet inspections only. So that is where your next generation firewall will work. So why? Because they come up with the IDS, IPS, where that contains the signatures and behavior analysis also. But here the firewall, it will work based on the signatures only, not on the behavior basis. So you can't detect them. So like that, we have some limitations in the firewall. So you can't find the new attacks. Even after attack, if you're enabling the firewall, they can't be removed. So like that, you have some limitations. Firewall can't block the social engineering attacks. So that's why I said we don't stick for the firewall here. We need to implement the next generations. So if you have a home-based networks like your router will have a firewall actually. So in your router you have that option. So if you see that option, it contains only the header related. Means packet filtering only it will work. And it will check for the sessions also, circuit level. If you mention the IP address. So just see their working mechanisms and which layer they work. So if you know the responsibility of each layer of OSI model, this is how the firewalls will work here. So if you want to secure your network level or transport level, you can go with the like packet filtering. No, I want the content application. No, I want to filter the session circuit level like that. Depends on the layer basis. We have the techniques. And if you want to go with all the layers, every layer to be monitored means next generation is best source. Like why? Because next generation will come up with the deep packet inspection. They will analyze the malware threats also. So where firewalls won't have the malware signatures. So firewall will have the protocol service network related only. So that's why we said that as a network security system. So malwares can't be detectable by the firewalls. So how malwares can be detectable means that is where we use this IDS, IPS, antiviruses, these sources actually. Right. Correct. So I need you guys to work out what's the difference of firewall and antivirus here. Just check them and see firewall limitations. And if possible, just see the evasion techniques. How you guys can bypass a firewall. You already know. We discussed some methods in Nmap also. So by spoofing the source addresses, or by manipulating the port addresses, or by using the decoy methods, fragmentation methods, performance or timing scenarios, changing the signature in malwares. Right. So like the obfuscations we use. So there is some evasion techniques. So just point out them also. Possible mention that evasion techniques also. So just go through this. Next session we'll discuss about the IDS and IPS. Is that clear? All right. So if you have any doubts, you guys can ask me, or else, yeah, you guys can leave. We'll connect that tomorrow. We'll continue the remaining in the next session. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending the session. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.